Welcome in, guys. It is Brad with College SportsCast. We are here to do week 25. We got about 3 weeks to Selection Sunday. Let's talk college basketball. Welcome in. March Madness is around the corner. John Hammonds, what do you say? Are you excited for another March Madness?
Pretty excited, man. Pretty excited.
All right, man. We are going to get to that. We're going to try to get to stuff pretty quick tonight. But first and foremost, if you are on with us and on Facebook, just want to say thank you. Thank you. Hit that subscribe. It's only 99 cents, man. It helps us out, helps us to continue to make content for you guys, gives you your own subscribers page and chat that we are in. So we appreciate you. Appreciate that. Hit that subscribe button. Appreciate that. Now, if you're on YouTube, we are right at 750 on YouTube and trying to grow on YouTube as well. So if you are on YouTube with us, hit that like and subscribe on there as well. And subscribe on Facebook or YouTube. Again, Facebook is 99 cents. We're not quite there yet on YouTube, but we are growing and getting bigger every day. So, yeah. All right. With that said, John, first I'll say hi to Josh. We got Josh Hart on here with us as soon as we started out. So just want to say hi to Josh. John, I'll go to you and just say, what is your thoughts on kind of a long week here because Kentucky didn't get to play? So,
yeah, it's been a long week. Kentucky had a bye week, rest up. They got a big game tomorrow with Florida. Opportunity of a lifetime, honestly. You lose, you probably don't have an opportunity to win the SEC because Florida's going to have the tiebreaker on you. It's going to be tough. But here's what I'll say about that is if Kentucky can go in there and start the game, being aggressive, start out as the aggressor, hit some shots, make some plays, and if Florida's not hot, I think Kentucky's got a chance to win this game. But the odds are stacked against them right now. They're 11.5-point underdog. It's going to be tough in the O-Dome. Denzel Aberdeen's from Orlando. He's getting to go back home to play his former team. There's going to be a lot of emotion in this game. This might be the biggest game of the season in terms of the SEC. Jimmy Dykes is calling this game. Carl Ravitch. It's on ABC, 3 o'clock.
We can't get away from good old Jimmy Dykes, can we?
Well, I mean, hey, he always gets the big games. So yeah, this is one of the bigger ones of the weekend that we'll be looking at.
Yep, we'll get to all that. But first of all, I want to ask you, so Michigan State and Wisconsin is playing right now on Friday night. Been trying to pick one game on Friday nights to do an update as we go along. I know Wisconsin was up pretty good early in the second half. So
yeah, I think there's 11 minutes left. It's 71-52 Wisconsin. So
19 points. Wisconsin has really,
Michigan State to me,
Wisconsin, Brad, though, John, has really been playing kind of well lately.
Yeah, I mean, Nick Boyd's playing well for them. Blackwell. Michigan State's kind of had a rough little spot here. They lost at Michigan. They lost on the road to Minnesota. They've hit a little spot in the middle of the year where, they've took some lumps. So
yeah.
But I'll say this. Never count out Izzo when March Madness comes, though. He's the king of the Big Ten tournament. He knows how to win. He knows how to get his team ready to play. I expect them to be ready and good to go here in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, and you got to give like a little bit of love here to this Wisconsin team, man. I mean, they've been playing well lately. I think they're looking for like their 19th or 20th win or something here.
Right around there, yep. They got a good team.
Somewhere right around there.
I'll be honest with you, it's tough to win at the Kohl Center. That's a tough place to play.
It is. All right. So with that said, John, we're going to get into some bracketology. Last week we started these 4 topics, 4 categories for our bracketology here. We're going to be doing this each and every Friday night as we go along here, leading up to Selection Sunday. So, John, we got 4 topics here that we're going to talk about. Headliners. I'm going to ask you about headliners. I'm going to try to keep this a little bit different. And instead of just letting you go on the same teams, because I think the top 3 or 4 or 5 teams are probably the same. I mean, Arizona took a loss this week. So let's start with them and talk about your headliners.
They did. Arizona, they lost at Kansas, tough game to play at the Fog. I'd put Michigan in there, Brad. I would put Houston in there. Arizona, kind of keep them there. I'm going to put
Arizona's first loss on the year. They were still undefeated, so it was their first loss on the season.
I'm going to put a new team in there. I'm going to put the Florida Gators. Thomas Howell, Ruben Chinyalu, Alex Condon, Xavier Lee, Boogie Flan, C.J. Ingram. Listen, Brad, from top to bottom, when it comes to size, Florida can match up with just about anybody. They got 3 big men in the paint. I said it today to somebody. I feel like Kentucky is going to have to zone this team because you don't want Malachi Marino and Brett Garrison getting into foul trouble against this Gator front.
Pope did mention that they've been practicing some different zones this week. I don't know if you caught that on Thursday.
I'm going to say this about Florida to kind of add to last year. If Florida plays at the level that they're playing at,
listen, let's talk about Todd Golden for just a minute, man.
Yeah, Todd Golden's a great coach, man.
Seriously.
They like to play fast. They're up and down. They get after you. They score in the paint. I think they had 72 points in the paint against Alabama.
He looks like he's going to be 27 on his next birthday. But, man, that dude can coach.
He can coach, Brad. He's one of the best coaches in the country. It's going to be a challenge tomorrow. I said it. They got 3 big guys in the paint, 3 6'9", 6'10" guys. Kentucky's going to have their hands full.
Looks like we might have a Michigan fan on here with us. What's up, Amanda?
Yeah, Michigan. I love this Michigan team. They're really, really good, Brad. Elliot Cadeau, he can play with anybody in the country offensively at the guard position. Yaxwell Lindenborg's really good. Damari Burnett, Trey McKinney, Ade Mara, the big man in the paint, the transfer from UCLA. This Michigan team, when they turn it on, they can be one of the best teams in the country. The other night they got down 15 Northwestern and they come back, and I think they beat them by double digits. So Dusty May has a really good basketball team there.
Another really good coach, Dusty May.
And those are my headliners. I just added Florida as the new team. I feel like Florida is playing as good as anybody.
All right, so John's been doing the men's side. I'm going to do the women's side as we go along. I cover women's basketball a little more than John does, so we're going to switch it over here and talk about the women's side, John. I have got to start with Vanderbilt. I mean, I don't know if you guys caught what Vanderbilt did last night to Texas, number 4 Texas, who has honestly had one of the better seasons out of all the teams in women's college basketball. Like, they put a whooping on them, and I mean a whooping. I mean, like, in Memorial Gym.
I've watched this Vanderbilt team. Michaela Blake can go for 40 all night. Each night, every night.
Yep.
You can stop her, but if that team is rolling together as a unit, this Vanderbilt team's good enough to go to the Final Four.
I'm telling you right now, John. I got a stat for you. Okay, since the turn of the century, 2000. All right, since the turn of the century in college basketball. Before last night, it had only happened twice where a player has had 3 straight 30-plus games. No, let me take it back. 30-plus games, but over 100 points scored in 3 games versus ranked opponents. Michaela Blakes did that last night. She had 34. She's got 105 points, okay? She is the 3rd player since the turn of the century. Do you want to know who the other 2 players are? Maybe y'all have heard of them. One of them is the name of Paige Beckers.
Mm-hmm.
And the other one is a guy by the name of Steph Curry.
Yeah. Pretty elite company she's in.
That's it. That's the list. Steph Curry, Paige Beckers, and Michaela Blakes that have scored over 100 points versus in 3 straight games versus ranked opponents in college basketball. I mean, I'm going to start with them. Of course, you got to throw UConn in here. UConn is undefeated. Nobody has really been able to play with them very close this year. You got to put them in. I think this Duke team is playing really well. Duke is really coming together and won a lot of ball games in a row. If I was going to put an outsider in, I definitely would put them in. Of course, South Carolina, I'm still going to put UCLA and Texas in there, but that'd be my 5 headliners here. I think on the girls' side, Michigan, I'll put a 6th in. Michigan is got a fantastic team on the girls' side as well, so they're good on both girls and boys. All right, our next one is Catching Fire. And these are teams that have seemed to be coming on, turning a corner, however you want to put it. These are teams that are making a name for themselves late in the season here before Selection Sunday.
I'm going to go Kentucky's one. I'm going to put St. John's. St. John's has figured it out. Bryce Hopkins, Ian Jackson. This team, when they get into you defensively, they can be one of the better defensive teams in the country. You know, they beat UConn last week in a very intense battle royal, I call it. You know, it was physical for 40 minutes. I would go Texas Tech would be another one. I feel like Texas Tech is kind of figuring things out. You know, they lost a couple of games there, but they've kind of, you know, won a couple of games back to back. And my other team, that's a tough one, Brad. That is a tough one. Trying to think. I tell you who I might go. I might go with Kansas again. I think, you know, Darren Peterson, you know, he's playing really well. Now, there's a lot of controversy around him not playing, sitting on the bench, load management and all.
He'll play a game, then he's out of game. He'll play a game, he's out of
all
game.
kinds of narratives around him. But when he's on the floor, Kansas might be a top 5 team. And
yeah.
You know, they're tough. You know, they got Council, you know, White. They got Darren Peterson. This team, when they're clicking, and especially in the fog, this Kansas team can play with anybody.
I mean, my Catching Fire, I'm not going to change a lot from last week. I had Duke in there. I think Louisville is one that has won like 13, 14 out of 15 games, something like that, and really playing well on the women's side. Let me think here real quick. You know, Texas Tech is got a really good team that is playing some really strong ball over in the Big 12 and doing a lot of good work there. I'm going to put a team in that maybe surprise you here. They had started the season off kind of slow, but they've won 5 in a row in the Big 10. USC seems to have figured something out just a little bit.
They're playing better.
They are playing better. They've won 5 in a row in the Big 10. They are now at least in the conversation to make the March Madness, make the NCAA tournament. So I'm going to put them in there for this one. And then we're going to go to losing steam. This one just means teams that are kind of faltering down the stretch here. So, John, what's some teams you think that's kind of losing a little bit of steam?
Auburn.
That's a definite good one.
They beat Florida on the road. They come back. They lose to Vanderbilt at home. They lose to Alabama at home. This Auburn team is just not your average Auburn team. They got a few good guys. Holloway is really, really good when he's going. Keyshawn Hall is good when he can hit shots. It's just not your average Auburn team. Let's just put it that way. Georgia would be one. Georgia's not playing great. They lost to Florida last week. They lost to Texas A&M, got down 22-2 to start the game. Georgia's kind of going backwards.
Haven't they lost 4 out of 5?
I'm going to tell you something. You start to worry a little bit, Brad, here. Georgia's got a tough end of the season schedule. And if they don't win some of these road games and win a couple home games, it could be dangerous footing going to the tournament.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I'll tell you another team, Texas A&M. They started out really hot.
Sounds to me like they're going down the list to the SEC is what it sounds like.
There's a few SEC teams in here that's not starting to end the year on a good note. They started out great, but A&M 17-7. That you got to look at it. At one point, they was 17-2, 17-3, and like all of a sudden you start losing games.
I'll throw one out at you that is going to be an oddball that a lot of people are not going to think about. But California is a team that's kind of losing some steam.
Yeah, they are. They played good early in the year, and they kind of slacked off a little bit.
Yeah.
My last team is Michigan State. And I hate to say it. They started the year out great. They beat Kentucky. They won some top games, and they lost to Michigan. They went on the road and lost to Minnesota. This team is so up and down. And here's the thing, Brad. They're having to, depend on Jeremy Fears. And this team, when they're shooting the ball and they're hitting shots, they can beat anybody. But when they can't hit, they're not a good team. And their shooting is what worries me in March with this Izzo team. Where are they going to get their production from? And I just think, the last couple of weeks and even tonight, losing on the road to Wisconsin is as bad as they are. And Blackwell's not even played great. I think he was 2 for 7 last I looked, and they're still down 20. And that should tell you that Wisconsin has got some other pieces like Nick Boyd. This team is clicking. That was another team I could have put as the catching fire is Wisconsin. They're kind of figuring it out towards the end of the year. And they most of the time do when it comes to conference tournament time. You always see Wisconsin around that semifinal, final game in the Big Ten tournament most of the time. So,
I agree with that.
That's my group. And let's go on to the women's now.
All right. So on the women's side of some teams that I think, there's some teams that are some perennial powers. Notre Dame here. Notre Dame is lost several, recently. I can't remember exactly how many they've lost, but they're a team that is now 16-9, and lost a few games here and really not playing well. They're probably in danger of not making the tournament here. I'll tell you, another team is Stanford. Their head coach retired last year. They've been there forever and won championships. Their new coach was assistant under her, and everybody thought that in year 2 that they would get things going. They have lost some games recently. They are also 16-9.
I'd put Kentucky in there too.
Yeah, Kentucky. I had them in here last week because they had lost a lot of games lately. They did win on Thursday night here, last night at home against A&M. So maybe they can get a big win on Sunday. But Kentucky would probably be a team that's losing a little steam here in conference play on the girls' side. And then I'll give you one more. Utah is another team. Utah has been kind of a perennial power out there in the Mountain West. Are in the Big 12 now. They were in the Mountain West, but are in the Pac-12. I mean, they had been a perennial power out there for a little while. And Utah's another team that has lost a few games. I think they're around 16-11 or something like that. Utah is this time. So that would be a few teams that I would say on the women's side. All right, outside looking in. Give me some teams that you think have some work to do to get in the tournament.
That's a good one, Brad. NC State, I think, would be one. They got dominated on the road last week against Louisville, which, let's be fair, Louisville was hitting everything. I mean, Conwell was going crazy. You had Michael Brown went off.
45, yeah.
I mean, sometimes, you just got to tip your cap and say, you know what, good game.
He broke freshman record, I think, for the ACC.
Baylor's won. Baylor's in danger of missing the tournament.
They are, for sure.
And that's unusual for a Scott Drew team.
Yep.
My third one would probably be Seton Hall. Seton Hall started out great. They got into Big East play and kind of faltered a little bit. They need some wins down the stretch. And my last one would probably be I'm going to go Oklahoma State. I think Oklahoma State is right on the cusp of a tournament bid, but they need to win some more games. Now, getting blowed out at number one Arizona, I mean, everybody's been getting beat by Arizona, but you got to at least show some resolve and fight. I don't think they did that game. Now, these next 2 weeks, if you want to get in, you got to beat some of the teams that are in front of them. Yeah, I think TCU's right there. They beat Iowa State this past week. TCU's got a really fun team. Now, I don't know how much they've done enough to really get into the tournament field. I mean, they're probably going to have to win a couple more games. Probably going to have to win a couple in the Big 12 tournament. So those are my teams on the outside looking in.
That's pretty good ones on the men's side. On the women's side, I'm going to start with Florida. Florida's now 15-12. They've got a lot of talent there with Liv McGill and the O'Neal girl, Shaquille's daughter in the middle, and Reynolds. They've got a lot of talent there, but they've got some work to do if they want to get in the tournament. Missouri is another team that I thought was kind of coming along. They've lost a couple now. Got beat really bad last night at Tennessee to a Tennessee team that's been getting walloped by really good teams. So that don't look good. I'm
going to say something while we're on that. On Kim Caldwell. Kim, I love you. I think you're a fantastic coach. You've done some things the last couple of years. You've got Tennessee to be respectable. But losing games like this is not going to sit right with Tennessee fans.
No, it's not, for sure.
Especially on the girls' side.
No, it's not. I mean,
because Tennessee's about winning championships, lead eights, Final Four.
So is Stanford and Notre Dame. That's another one. Like right now, outside looking in, I think Notre Dame is on the bubble of that, at least outside looking in right now. Stanford would be another one, and these are teams that are perennial powers in the women's game. And there's some teams, some big teams that I think is kind of on the outside looking in on the women's side as well. So just to give y'all a little bit, we're going to do this each and every Friday night from now through Selection Sunday.
Well, next Friday, I was going to mention it while we're on it. We'll have NKY brackets on.
We might have him. We might have him join us in this little talk here. and do our categories and stuff
It'll
too.
probably be more of a bracket show, honestly.
Well, it will. We will do that, but we might do this too, is what I'm saying, and
Yeah,
and,
that's what I
and
meant.
do a little bit. Just have a little fun with it while NKY is here next week. All right, we're going to get into our picks and stuff. The only other thing that I do want to mention before we get into our picks is that what'd you think about, just real quick, what'd you think about the Trinidad Chambliss judge ruling yesterday? He was denied, 3 or 4 times by the NCAA? And now apparently he's going to be eligible for a 6th year. It's medical. It's not some of the same reasons that some of these other guys are doing it. But
we'll talk about this next week because there's some things I kind of want to dig into with it. But good for him, I guess.
Joey Aguilar had a hearing today. Just want to say that the judge did not rule on it today. It'll probably be Monday or Tuesday before we hear anything on that one.
Real quick. I feel like there's 2 different options here. Like, if it's a medical, I could probably understand.
Yeah.
But if it's just another year, another 6th, 7th year.
Yeah. That's what Joey Aguilar is doing.
The time has come. Like, go to the NFL.
We're trying to not count a JUCO year is what Joey Aguilar is trying to do.
Yeah. So let's move on to our picks before we get into a rant.
I was just trying to be quick with it, man. All right, we're going to get into our picks. These are all Saturday games down through here. There might be one at the very end on the men's side that was Sunday game. But Clemson is at Duke. Clemson's had a pretty good year. They lost one earlier this week that they might have should have won. But Duke is a 12.5-point favorite at home over this Clemson team. And, John, I don't know if you remember, but Clemson's played them well the last 3 or 4 years.
And Clemson's got a good team.
Yeah.
R.J. Godfrey, Nick Davison. I think he was the transfer from Nevada, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm pretty sure Clemson's even beat them once or twice in Cameron, haven't they?
They have. To me, I like Duke in this game, especially at home. You got the Boozer twins, which everybody knows which one everybody's talking about. It's Cam Boozer. He's the do-it-all freshman. He can do everything, Brad. He's so good at the rim. He can score. He can rebound. The kid is probably going to go number 1 if we're all being honest, 1 or 2. Depending on Darren Peterson and a bunch of other kids. But
AJ DeBonta.
They don't just have Cameron Boozer. They have Isaiah Evans, Patrick Nagba, Caleb Foster, Malik Brown. Dame Sarr comes in off the bench. This is a really good Duke team that, quite frankly, going forward, they might be going back to the Final Four for the 2nd straight year when it's all said and done. So, give me Duke at home, but I do think Clemson will cover this spread. Clemson sometimes plays Duke really tough.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I was looking at some of these spreads, and Vegas seems to have some of these that just seem high to me.
I'm going to take Clemson to cover this game. This is actually a tough game for Clemson or Duke.
Yeah, I'm going to take Clemson to cover. I do think Duke wins this game at home, but 12.5 seems like too much to me, to be honest.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
All right, UCLA is at Michigan this weekend, John. Tomorrow, Michigan is a 15.5-point favorite over this UCLA team. And, John, I want to start by saying UCLA's been playing pretty decent lately.
Yeah. They're 17-7.
Yep.
They got Donovan Dent, Trent Perry. They got Sky Clark.
They started off a little rough, but they've been playing a lot better recently.
For me, I think for UCLA, I think Xavier Booker has got to get going. He's had games where he struggled, the former Michigan State transfer. Eric Daly Jr. has played good at times. If I'll say this, if UCLA is going to win this game, they got to have something from Donovan Dent. He's got to have a big night. This Michigan team is so loaded in the backcourt, the front court. they can put a 30-piece on you in 40 minutes, especially at home. They're good at home. So give me Michigan, but I do think UCLA covers the spread. Some of these spreads are high to me. Let's be honest.
I mean, I'm going to take Michigan, and this Michigan team was putting spankings on teams earlier in the year. Can they win this game by 15.5 plus? They probably can at home. I'm going to take it here just for the sake of the show. Just so you know, I probably wouldn't bet that. All right. Kansas is at Iowa State. And, John, Iowa State's a 6.5-point favorite at home over this Kansas team. And from what I'm hearing, Peterson's going to play.
Listen, Brad. The Ames, Iowa.
It's tough.
The Hilton.
It's tough.
It's a tough place to play.
It is.
You know, I love this team. Joshua Jefferson, Tamin Lipsey, Blake Buchanan. This team's really, really, really good. And then you look on the other side, you got Kansas, Darren Peterson, White, the transfer, I think, from Illinois. You got Council. And Kansas is peaking at the right time. Like, they are winning games that last year they didn't win.
Yeah.
And they're winning those games.
They're definitely playing a lot better.
I want to take Iowa State. I like the Cyclones at home. I think this Cyclone team's still good. Everybody's going to say, well, they lost to TCU. Well, sometimes you just lose to certain random teams in the middle of the year, and it just happens. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to go up against nights where you're not hitting shots, you're not rebounding, and a random team is going to get you.
Kansas is really damn good at home. But on the road,
they're not great.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to take Iowa State. I'm going to give the 6.5 points. I think this Iowa State team takes care of things at Hilton.
I think Iowa State's going to win this one. It's tough coming off of that win over Arizona and still staying high for this one.
Yeah, I think especially when you go from home to the road. Yeah, and you have to kind of build that emotion. You beat the number one team, and now you got to play Iowa State. Like, it can be tough.
Yeah, and this Iowa State team was a top, 6 or 8 team just, 2 weeks ago? Something like that?
Yep.
I mean, they're still a top 15, top 20 team. So, all right, John, we're going to go to the SEC here. Texas A&M is on the road at Vandy. Vandy is a 7.5-point favorite here. Vandy didn't play well last weekend. A&M's kind of went through a little rough spot here. What say you on this game?
I still like this A&M team. Rylan Griffith. That was a guy you talked about last week that you felt like Kentucky could have had.
Yeah.
In the portal. Marcus Hill is playing good for them at the guard slot. Pop Isaacs, the transfer from Texas Tech. He comes in off the bench and does a really good job. Jamie Vinson plays really well in the paint. Federico, he plays really well. That's his name, by the way, if everybody's asking. So,
sorry, I'm just laughing.
Well, I'm just saying that's his name. But anyways, I like this A&M team. I like what Bucky's doing. I always call him Bucky Ball. Bucky McMillan, he's a really, really good coach. And for those that don't know, Bucky used to be a former high school coach. Went from high school to Sanford to Texas A&M, and he's done well for himself.
Oh, absolutely.
But I'm going to say this. With this being at home,
Vandy's coach has done a great job too, though.
Byington, yes. With this at home, Vanderbilt lost at home last weekend to Oklahoma. I think they're going to be ready to play. They got down 20 points last weekend.
They did.
They made a
glorious comeback, but
had a wild comeback in the second half, almost won. So it's tough to win in Nashville. We found out the hard way. So I'm going to take Vanderbilt. I think they win this game. I think they kind of bounce back. Plus, they're coming off a big win over Auburn on the road. So, give me the.
Yeah, I'm going to take Vandy in this one as well. And listen, if A&M, like, it's so odd because 2 weeks ago,
Yeah,
A&M was at the top of the SEC, okay? And if you look at where they are now, if they lose this game as well, I mean, I know they still got to play Kentucky in March. I'm not sure what else their schedule looks like, but I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. This A&M team, as much as most people think they are probably locked in, if you look at their metrics and their numbers, I don't know yet. I mean, they still got a little work to do, I believe. So this is an important game for them, I believe. All right, John, we're going to go back to the Big Ten. This is one of the games this week where the road team is favored. Purdue is favored at Iowa. Iowa is a tough place to play against the Hawkeyes. Purdue is favored by 1.5 on the road.
Iowa, to me, is just so up and down. You know, they had that big winning streak. You know, then they lost to Maryland, which was a crazy loss to me.
Yeah.
You know, and they got one of the best shooters in the country.
Losing to Maryland was a bad loss.
It don't look good on your resume. You know, Bennett Sturts might be one of the best shooters in the country. You know, this team is really good when they're connected.
And they play better at home too, though.
Well, then you got the kid Fulgaris, the one that Kentucky was after last year in the portal.
Yeah.
This team, when they're playing together, connected, they're a pretty good team. But now you got to go and you got to play Purdue after losing a game like you did against Maryland. You kind of jump off that loss and say, you know what, we got to change things up and we got to figure out how to win this game for our tournament hopes. So, but I'm going to still stick with Purdue. I like Purdue. Purdue's a really good team. Braden Smith, Fletcher Loyer. Purdue to me, is still not where they need to be. I've watched them.
They've been missing. I mean, the last 2 years, people thought they would be a little better. I think they've really lost their big guy in the middle from a couple of years ago.
Well, and Oscar Fluff, he's a big guy, but there's been games where he's disappeared. And right. You gotta have some sort of semblance in the paint. Shooting is not always going to be there. You got to have some guys that can rebound and can, block shots. But I feel like they have the edge here on the road. So
I'm going to be honest with you, John. I'm going to go different. Try to do at least a few of these different. I'm going to take the Hawkeyes at home in the upset here. I think
that's where I'm at, but I just think
they're going to bounce back after that bad loss. They're 18-6. I think they have something to prove after that bad loss and come back at home here and get a marquee win here.
Yeah, it's a big one.
If they could beat Purdue here. All right, John, this is a big one in the Big 12. Texas Tech is at Arizona. Arizona, of course, is coming off that loss at Kansas. Their first loss of the season. The Wildcats are a 9.5-point favorite at home over this Red Raiders.
This backcourt of Arizona is so good. Braden Burry's the freshman. You got Jaden Bradley. This team, when they're rolling, Cole Pete, the big man in the middle, Toby Awaka, the Tennessee transfer from a couple years ago, when they're connected, they might cut the nets down.
They might.
This team can play. They can score. They're really good inside the paint. They can shoot shots. They rebound really well. Jaden Bradley is having a fantastic season. Most people know him from Alabama. He was one of the guards at Alabama a couple years ago. This team, like I said, when they're connected, I feel like late in the game against Arizona, or not Arizona, but Kansas, They just miss shots that they normally hit. And
Kansas, you can't count out this Red Raiders team. I mean, JT Toppin.
JT Toppin's really good. Listen, JJ Toppin, to me, if it wasn't for, Cam Boozer, I think you got to consider him for maybe player of the year.
Yeah. I mean, I agree.
I mean, not named Cam Boozer, but it's not just JT Toppin. Like Christian Anderson's really good. Donovan Atwell's good. They got LaJohn Watts. Jalen Petty's playing really well for them.
That's a really good team, man.
Well, listen, they dropped the game against UCF. They dropped the game against Kansas. They come back. They beat West Virginia on the road. They come home and whip Colorado. Now you got a chance to play Arizona, which is on the road, which will be a tough game. The rest of their schedule, Brad, I was looking at here. They play Arizona Saturday, Arizona State, Kansas State, and I'll mention that next week. That's a farce right now. Cincinnati, Iowa State away, home against TCU, and away against BYU. Like the schedule is like right there for them.
Yeah.
To kind of end the season on a high note.
Yeah. I mean, I agree.
Now the two road games against Iowa State
BYU
and Arizona is going to be tough, but at the same time, like any road game is going to be rough. But they got some home games that are winnable and doable at the end of the year.
So is 9.5 a little scary for you here, or do you think
I'm going to have them cover, but I do think Arizona bounces back in this spot.
I'm going to say Texas Tech. I'm going to take them and the 9.5. Arizona probably wins this at home, but I think the Red Raiders will give them a pretty good fight. So that's what I think here on this one. All right, John, we're going to go out west here. I like doing some of these out here and throwing these in. Santa Clara has had a really, really good year this year, and I think they're like 22-4 or something like that. Their record is. And the Zags are going to Santa Clara, and again on the road. They're one of the few road teams that are favored here. They're favored 3.5 on the road at Santa Clara.
Santa Clara's good, Brad. They got Alan Graves, they're freshman, 6'9" freshman, Christian Hammond, Elijah Mahi, Bucky Aboye. They got a lot of great players on this team, and
I don't remember exactly what the record is, but it's like 22-4,
22-5, I believe,
something like that.
Their wins are, they lost to St. Louis 71-70 early in the year. They beat Minnesota. They beat North Texas. There's not a lot of great wins. Now, they did lose to Gonzaga the first game, I think, by 12. Now you get them at home. Can you win this game and kind of solidify yourself as a tournament team? If you beat Gonzaga, and now Gonzaga, everybody don't realize this, but Gonzaga lost to Portland last week. Like,
they did.
That's not a good loss on your resume. And how is Gonzaga kind of going to bounce back and kind of get into the fold here? So tough road game, but I still think I'm going to take Gonzaga here, the 3.5. Gonzaga Ike is playing at an elite level for them. Graham Ike.
Yeah, man. I mean, he's a monster. Honestly,
I'm going to be honest. They really need to get Huff back, I think, because I think Huff takes them to another level. Yeah,
they're missing Huff for sure. But I'm going to take the Zags here, but I will not be shocked if the home crowd there in the Santa Clara team pulls an upset, to be honest. I wouldn't be shocked.
They can shoot.
All right, John, we're going to get to the Kentucky and Florida game here. We'll probably spend just a few extra minutes on this one. This is a big one. This is the winner has a upper hand, at least you can say, in the SEC for the regular season title. And Florida is an 11.5 point favorite. That just seems so high to me. But now Florida has played really well and been beating the snot out of people. So I don't know.
Listen, everything's great for Kentucky right now. They've won 8 of 9. They did it, Brad, without Jalen Lowe and Jaden Quaintance sitting on the bench, plus Cam Williams.
Yeah.
But I feel like on the road against probably the best team in the SEC, I feel like it's a tough spot.
It is.
But I do think Kentucky can keep this respectable. Now, they're giving Florida 11.5. So, and there's a few people picking Kentucky. Like, there's 4 or 5 guys that are picking the Cats. Now, I don't know what they're on. I mean, I get it. Kentucky's played really well the last few weeks. But at the same time, I mean, you're going up against a Florida team that has figured it out. Boogie Flanders playing well.
I'm going to give you a stat real quick. You ready for this? Kentucky, the last 6 times they played at Florida,
They won.
They've won them all. They're 6-0 at the O'Connell Center.
Mm-hmm.
Does that even seem right to you? That's crazy.
It's nuts. Yeah.
I mean,
you know who I think is big in this game? Captain Clutch.
the one player that I'm scared of that I think is going to be the difference maker in this game is Thomas Houck.
Yeah, he's a matchup problem.
Yep.
He can go out.
I think he's going to be.
The thing about him is he can go inside and then he can come out and he can knock down a three. Like, he can play inside and out.
Thomas Houck basically is an NBA wing that's still in college. That's the way he's playing. He's playing like he could go to the NBA and play the 3 spot, the 6'9", 6'10", and play that 3 spot facing up, shooting threes, going inside, and play that in the NBA. And that's the way Thomas Houck is playing, and he's still in college. Yeah, I think that's why you see Florida rising the way they are. I think he is a big key. Boogie Flan is playing better. Xavion Lee is playing better as well. The two things that I think Kentucky absolutely has to do here, John, they cannot let the guard play kill them, because if Florida's their bigs is going to be a problem. So we have to slow down their guard play. We can't let Lee and Boogie Flan have great shooting nights and score a lot of points.
Here's where I have the issue is Kentucky has got into holes quite a bit in the first half.
Yeah.
And, Florida's coming off a 20-point road win over Georgia, and they're really good in the paint. I think
didn't they beat South Carolina by like 47 points or something?
Yeah, it was on the road. I think, in the games that they've played, they've covered in 4 of their last 5 home games.
They've been slaughtering.
And then the other aspect of it is Florida's defense is really good. And at times this year, Kentucky has not had a good identity on offense.
And I don't know if you guys remember, but Florida Gators came into Rupp last year, who went on to win the national title, by the way. And Kentucky pulled out a win against them. I'm sure they're going to remember that. And then, John, the one big thing on the Kentucky side here is Denzel Aberdeen.
Yeah, it's
I got a question. Do you think he'll get booed every time he touches the ball?
He probably will. I mean, he's a former player. I mean, he's the enemy now. So,
I mean, he's a Florida kid, left the Florida Gators, left a national championship team for a little bit more money at Kentucky.
Yeah, he's probably going to get that treatment. So I'm just going to go here. I'm going to go Kentucky to cover. I don't like picking against the Cats. We always try to be neutral and try to, pick the games the right way. But, Brad, this is a tall task. And, we said this last week when we was going up against Arkansas on our shows. How do they come out? How do they start? How do they finish? Does Florida's defense cause us to, make us a train wreck on offense? If you do that, you're going to get beat 20, 30 points. If you can't get the ball open, you can't make passes.
This is not a team that you're going to be able to get down 18 points and come back and win on.
You're not going to be able to do it.
No.
It's just not going to happen.
No, you're not going to be able to do that on the road at Florida. You're going to have to stay in this game.
You're going to have to be in the game at halftime. Maybe I say if you can get down 5 at halftime, you're right in the middle.
Yeah.
You just got to be within that threshold, because if you don't and you get this lead to 16, 17.
Yeah.
Listen, I hope they've learned their lesson, especially, on the road against Vanderbilt. You come out and you don't play hard, you get punched in the mouth and you get punked. I hope they've learned their lesson.
I mean, John, for me, a few things that I will say. Florida, Xavier Lee is fast. Boogie Flan is fast. The one things they do, they can push the ball. Kentucky's going to have to be ready to get back on defense from the jump, from the get-go. They push the ball out off of rebounds. If we're not hitting shots and they're not taking the ball out of the net and giving us an extra step or two to get down the floor, they're going to have to be on it, running down the floor, getting back against this Florida team.
It could get scary if that happens.
I'm telling you, they're going to have to be on it, getting back against this Florida team. I do think a zone is probably not a bad idea. I don't think we will play it for 40 minutes. I think it's a good thing to switch up to.
You know why? You know why the zone is great? Because you keep our bigs out of foul trouble.
Yeah.
You get into a man-to-man type thing with Thomas Howell, the big man in the middle, Condon. You start beating and banging in the post, guys in foul trouble. We don't have a big bench when it comes to big men.
Yeah.
And you put the big men in foul trouble.
Well, and then you also kind of dare their shooters.
It could be game over. I mean, it's not. Let's just be honest. So,
and then the last one is rebounding. I mean, this Florida team on the inside, if we let them get second, third, fourth opportunities, kind of like what Tennessee did to us a week ago. Now, I realize we came back on them, but I don't think we're going to do that against this Florida team.
I'll tell you something.
And give them a second, third, fourth rebound or opportunity on the same trip. We're going to have to crash the backboard. We're going to have to keep them off the glass as much as possible. I realize they're huge and they're going to get some, but they can't dominate us.
I'm going to tell you something else. Florida is not a great three-point shooting team.
They're not. That's why I said the zone. You're talking about the big guy side of it, but the zone will actually, it's possible that packing in a zone just a little bit, not a lot, but a little bit, a 3-2 zone would be great because you can reach the wings on a 3-2 zone. And you can guard that, and maybe you can get them to miss some 3-pointers.
But if they're hitting, say for instance, you're putting your absolute best defense on them, okay, like Georgia did, and they're hitting shots, you might as well just say good game, because
listen,
this
is a really, really good team. Again, the first 4 weeks of this season, I didn't think Florida was going to be quite as good, but I'm going to be honest with you. Right now, John, I think this Florida team is easily a top 10 team in the country.
I want to say this to add, and we'll move off of this. At the beginning of the year, these two teams were supposed to be the odds-on favorites to be in the SEC title hunt.
It didn't go the way that we all thought it would for both teams, to be honest.
For neither team.
But they're both there.
And now you got them both playing for first place tomorrow.
Yep.
Props.
They're both there.
Yep. Props.
Yeah. So a win tomorrow for the Cats would be monstrous for this team, for Mark Pope. It would be monstrous. I can't sit here and pick a win. I am going to take the Cats in the 11.5 points. This is going to be a tough venue and a tough team and a tough call for this Cats team to go down there and get a win over these gamers.
All season long.
I would rather have, if I had to choose, and I told you this earlier this week, John, if I had to choose, I'd rather get the win over the Gators in Rupp, like behind us in this picture here. I'd rather get the win in March in Rupp than tomorrow.
But I'll say this. We've underestimated this team all season long.
Yeah.
And every time we do.
Against Tennessee, twice, against Arkansas. I mean, yeah, you're right.
Every time we do, they prove us wrong.
Well, they have been lately.
Lately, yes.
The last 6 weeks, yes.
But anyways, let's just move on because we could talk about this game all night.
All right, man. We're going to get to Auburn and Arkansas. This is at Arkansas. They are a 6.5 point favorite here in Fayetteville. The Hogs are. And Auburn, like you said, really, like, I won't be honest with you, John. They lose this game too, they may truly be on the outside looking in.
Yeah. And Arkansas is tough at home. Like, let's be honest. Kentucky's the only team that has went in there and defeated them.
Yep.
That's a tough environment. You got Darius Acuff, Trevin Brazile. This is a really good team when they're playing together as a unit. And when Darius Acuff gets going, he's hard to stop, Brad. And, now let's be fair. Arkansas don't shoot the ball well from three. They do more of their damage in the paint. Now,
I mean, this Auburn team is an enigma. And I mean that, like, sometimes they come out and they play really well and they look like they could play with and beat anybody. And then sometimes they just don't play well. And I think they're like 14-10, John, something like that.
Yeah, this would be a big win for Auburn if they could figure it out. But let's be honest. If Auburn does what Auburn does at the end of the year and they kind of win one, lose one, win one, lose, we're probably looking at an 8 or 9 seed for the Tigers this year. They're probably going to have to get past a 1 seed to get to the Sweet 16.
I'm not even sure I'm not even 100% sure that they will make it.
I think they will, Brad. They got some big wins.
14-11?
14-10.
They would be 14-11 if they lose this.
Well, I mean, if they lose this one, but they're pretty high in metrics too. I
mean, that's just not good now. I'm telling you.
Well, Brad, they beat St. John's. They beat NC State. They beat Arkansas at home. They beat Florida on the road. They beat Texas at home. They got some good wins on their resume.
I mean, I get it, but that's just one win. That's one win above 13-12.
I know, but to be honest, there's not a lot of great teams in the
I mean, Lord have mercy. That's just not good now.
It's not.
All right.
And they're still wanting to expand the tournament. That's the thing. Like,
Lord have mercy. Before you know it, you're going to have SEC teams making the darn tournament, and their record's going to be like 15-17.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest.
I mean, good grief.
Yeah.
I mean, for real. All right. Arkansas, like Acuff is playing really well. As much as I hate to continue to say it, but Trevin Brazil is a good player. Malik Thomas has been, a pretty good player for most of this year. I like Billy Richmond. Billy Richmond has all kinds of athleticism and is an elite player.
What's killing Arkansas? Carter Knox.
Yeah. And I think Wagner's been hurt, is he not?
Yeah, he was out the last game. Yep.
Yeah. I think Wagner's been hurt, so I'm not sure what's going on with him. But I'm going to take the Hogs here at home, the way Auburn's been playing.
Ooh, Pete.
I ain't going that far, John.
I figured you wouldn't.
I ain't going that far. All right, this one's a Sunday game. I thought I'd put this one in because Illinois had a rough week, man. Let's be honest with you. They had won 12 in a row. They had a rough week. Indiana is at Illinois.
Well, let's just be fair to Illinois. The two teams they play was Michigan State and Wisconsin. That's tough.
And they're playing without they have some injuries. So
Kalen Boswell's out right now, and hopefully he'll be back.
Stojakovic was out against Wisconsin. I know that for sure. I'm not sure about last weekend, but Stojakovic missed.
I call this the European squad. This is a
so European. When you play without Boswell and without Stojakovic, I can kind of see that now.
Yeah, but you got Keaton Wagler. You got Keaton Wagler,
who's a freshman, up and down at times.
A freshman that is scoring like
still can have up and down games as a freshman.
Yeah, but let's be honest, he's doing things that most people didn't even think he would do this season. He was a diamond in the rough. So
right. Do you think Illinois bounces back here?
I do. I like them at home. I like them there. I like them in this spot. Brad Underwood is going to have these guys ready, and I think they figure it out. And I think Indiana finds a pissed off Illinois team on Sunday.
The Fighting Illini.
Yeah, I actually like this team. I like the way they play offense. I like the way they move the ball. When they're clicking with Wagler and when Boswell was there and the group that they got, like Stojakov, like they can
his
score.
brother.
They can score.
Yeah, I mean this is a good team when they're healthy. I'm going to go Illinois here as well in this one, and then John, we're going to switch it up and get to some women's games, and kind of finish the show out here. I do have 10 women's games that we're going to run through here. Texas Tech is at Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State on the women's side is about a 19-7, 19-6 team. They're pretty good. Texas Tech is 23-3, I believe, 16th in the country. They have really played well this year.
Yeah, Texas Tech is playing at an elite level, Brad. I think they've kind of figured things out. They had the big win the other night.
TCU, they beat TCU. I mean, they played really well.
Yeah, and now you're going up a team against Oklahoma State. The foundation is laid there, Brad. J.C. Hoyt, she's the head coach of Oklahoma State. She led them to the tournament last year. They was 25-7. I think they won 14 Big 12 games. They was top 5 in scoring and defense. Now they lost a lot of pieces last year. Listen, this is going to be a tough game for Texas Tech. Let's be honest. It's on the road. It's at Oklahoma State. The Cowgirls are really good when they play at home. But I still think I'm going to go with Texas Tech. I like this Texas Tech team. I think they got a lot of great pieces, and I think they're playing well above what everybody thought they would.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with Tech and the Lady Red Raiders here on the road. I mean, this is a tough one. I don't think it'll be a big one, like a large deficit here, but give me Texas Tech in this.
I think somewhere between 5 and 6 points at least.
there was no spreads here on these women's games, so I don't have spreads in here for you guys on these. But Saturday night, this is a different one for the SEC. There's not too many Saturday night games on the women's side because the men usually have all the spotlight on Saturday nights in the SEC for basketball. But John, this one has some meaning behind it. You got South Carolina going to Baton Rouge, and hometown girl who left from Columbia, South Carolina, who left the Gamecocks and transferred to LSU. Malaysia Fawiley is now wearing purple and gold. And this one, I'm telling you, this one means something a little extra.
It does. I think South Carolina has one of probably the best backcourts in the country. Ladson, Johnson, Tessa Johnson, Raven,
Johnson,
Edwards. Then you kind of add Medina Ocock from the portal, Mississippi State. Acock McKeer from Ontario. Ayla McDowell is really good. She's a really good perimeter scorer. And then you got to go up against, LSU. Kim Mulkey's squad, they got speed. They're athletic. They got rim protection. They got playmakers. Michaela Williams, Kate Koval, she got her from Notre Dame. Malaysia Fawali, she brings a lot of playmaking ability to LSU. That's another weapon on the perimeter. This game's going to have it all, Brad. Let's just be honest. You got.
I mean, on LSU side, I mean, you got Jada Richards, you've got Grace Knox, you've got Zakai Johnson. I mean, they've got Kate Koval. I mean, just to throw out some names that you're not going to recognize.
Joyner, the transfer from East Carolina.
Yeah, I mean,
she's a big paint presence. So, but I'm going to go LSU here. I don't normally go against South Carolina, but that place is a tough place to play when Kim Mulkey has her team playing ball. And I'm going to give the edge to LSU, but it ain't going to be much. 2 or 3 points.
When Malaysia Fawiley decided to put her name in the transfer portal, man, I'm going to tell you, I've been in Columbia, South Carolina the last 2 years. There wasn't, and I mean, I seriously doubt there was another beloved player like Malaysia Fawiley was. She's a hometown girl.
Yeah.
There. And they were heartbroken. But then when she went to LSU, a rival like that, I mean, this has created just a one-of-a-kind atmosphere here in this game. It's going to be
the good thing is it's at LSU and not South Carolina. So
yeah, it is. This is in Baton Rouge, so the home crowd's going to be behind her. For Malaysia and for the Tigers here. Man, this is going to be a tough one, though. I would not be surprised if you're going LSU. I would not be surprised to see the Don Staley and these Gamecocks pull out a win here. If you're going to go that way, I'm going to go the opposite. I'll take the Gamecocks here, it's going to be a hell of a game. So much so that the SEC put this on Saturday night during the men's games. So that's how big this is. All right, Vandy, number 5, Vandy, coming off a huge demolishing win of Texas last night, is at Georgia. Georgia has been a pretty good team, this year, pretty decent in the SEC. I think they're like 16-5 or, something like 17-6 or something like that now. And Vandy is coming off a huge emotional big win. Do you think they slip up any at all against this Georgia team in Athens?
I don't. the Doors are playing about as good as anybody. They beat
They are.
Texas the other night. Michaela Blake's last year broke
And they didn't
records.
just beat them. They was up 20+ points about the whole game.
She was SEC Freshman of the Year last year. She record after record, Brad. She just absolutely just took over college basketball. And, and then you get, Shay Ralph. She's in her 5th year. She's attracted a lot of elite talent to Vanderbilt. And that used to be a powerhouse program. Let's be honest, in women's basketball. So she's getting those players again. She's figuring things out. This Vanderbilt team has an opportunity, Brad, to play in the Final Four. That's how good this team is. And I think they win on the road. I think they beat Georgia. Georgia's a good team. They've had a couple wins here. They beat Kentucky. But I just think Vanderbilt's just got too many weapons on the outside of the backcourt.
I mean, look, Michaela Blake's is something else. I've seen her play in person a few times. Like she's pretty amazing, to be honest with you. Such a sweet shooter, man, and she's just a great player, all around player. I love the defense that they play. Their guard play, the freshman guard with Michaela Blake's, who's a sophomore. They have a freshman and a sophomore that start, and they are one of the best backcourts in the country by far. It's not just it's the defense that they play as well. It's just amazing.
They play really good defense.
So give me the Doors in this one as well. All right, John. This is ACC time here. This is on Saturday. Let's see. I think this one's Saturday as well. Nope. These are Sundays. These are Sunday games. North Carolina is at Duke. And those 21-11 is the AP poll position that they're in. Duke has really played great the last 15 games. So what do you think here?
Courtney Banghart is a good coach. She's in her 7th year in Chapel Hill.
Yep.
She led them to 5 consecutive NCAA tournaments. They had a Sweet 16 trip last year. Lainey Grant, Renee Kelly, Sierra Toomey, Blanca Thomas. They have, I think, the number 5 recruiting class. They got speed. They got scores. This North Carolina team's really, really good, Brad. And they're playing a Duke team that is putting it together. They're coming off of
leading the ACC right now.
Toby Forney, she's really good. Ashlyn Jackson, Delaney Thomas. I love Delaney Thomas. She might be one of the best.
13-0 in ACC or something like that.
Yeah. Tahani Marr, she has some experience. They got some good freshmen. Emily Skinner. This is a really, really good Duke team, and they figured things out.
Lawson is a really good coach.
Let's don't forget. I mentioned it. They went to the Elite Eight last year. They had a good year last year. So Tara Lawson's a really good coach. They're learning from the best. Hey, she played at Tennessee. She was the all-time great at the University of Tennessee. So they got a good coach. But I think I'm going to take Duke here. I think being at home, I think gives them the edge here. But I wouldn't be shocked if North Carolina won this. This might be one of my favorite games of the weekend when it comes to the women's.
Yeah, I'm going to take Duke here at home. They've been playing so well. But this is a huge, huge rivalry. The fans do not like each other. It wouldn't surprise me if these teams don't get up for each other. And Carolina
probably get chippy.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me at all. But I am going to take Duke at home. Going to the Big Ten, number 20 Maryland's at number 8 Ohio State. Maryland has been a little bit up and down a little bit this year, but they seem to be kind of coming back now. Ohio State's kind of a surprise, I think, to be where they are at number 8 this year.
Last year they lost Cheyenne Sellers. but she figured out the lineup. You know, she's good in the portal. Brenda Freese, Kayleen Schmickel, she was really good last year. Poffenbarger. They got the
Brenda
Indiana
Freese is a great
transfer,
coach. Championship. She's won a championship.
Garzone. Now, and then you look on the other side, an Ohio State team. Brad, they just know how to figure things out, right? Like they
lost a lot last year, and they're young. They got some young talent on this team.
They do. It's kind of shocking to see how Ohio State 8th. Let's be honest. I mean, they lost a few pieces. You know, McMahon was a big piece that ended up
Chloe
going to
Kitt's little sister is a freshman on this team. They've got a couple of other freshmen on this team that's doing really well. I mean, this Ohio State team is young.
Give me Ohio State. I like them at home here. Maryland's kind of had a bumpy ride the last couple of weeks, so
yeah.
Give me the Buckeyes.
I'm gonna take the upset and take Maryland, but I honestly, if I was betting, I would probably bet Ohio State. But just for the show, I'm gonna pull the upset here and kind of go different. John, we got to talk about Coach Vic, because last night, man, he was fit to be tied, and I knew he was going to be. To be honest with you, everybody's talking about what he said at the press conference. I've been at his press conferences. I've seen him after losses. That did not surprise me one bit. I was just waiting to hear his press conference last night after getting drummed by Vanderbilt last night. They are now going from Nashville over to Knoxville from Thursday to Sunday, John, and now they got to go play the Lady Vols, number 22 Lady Vols on the road. I am quite sure that the Texas girls did not have a fun day.
They did not. You know, especially, the leaders, Madison Booker, Rory Harmon.
They did not have a fun day today.
This team is really good, though, Brad. They returned their top 4 scorers
from a Final Four. They made the Final Four last year.
You got Rory Harmon. She was, all SEC defensive team last year. The thing about it is, Brad, sometimes you just have a bad night.
Yeah.
And that's what happened.
Yeah.
And sometimes you just have to let it go, forget about it, move on to the next game. And now you got Tennessee coming up.
Hopefully Vic Schaefer can do that today.
And I'm going to be honest with you. There's some questions going on in Knoxville right now. Like,
there is.
The Kim Caldwell has been known for her fast system. It's a lot of pressure.
She kind of runs players in and out. She does some of that
like
some
substituting,
like
that. Now she's got Cooper. She's got she brought in some transfers, Janiyah Barker, Nia Robertson.
She's got a good freshman class too.
She does. I like this team. I just think, I don't know. There's just some questions here. Like, getting blown out.
I'm taking the Longhorns in this one for
I am too. I
cannot listen. There is no way I cannot even fathom that Vic will let this team fall apart.
My question to you, Brad, is like, how do you let the blowouts continue in this?
If you're in Knoxville, I don't think they will for too long. I don't think they will. She'll get a third year, I'm pretty sure, being where they are, number 22. Like, I think she'll get a third year. But I'm going to tell you right now, in year 3, if they're still getting blown out, I don't think she'll be there.
And it's not to teams that are not good. It's ranked teams.
Yeah.
UConn.
But that doesn't matter. Tennessee Lady Vols think they should compete against those teams.
That's Alabama football too.
Yeah,
I mean you basically look at it from that perspective. Yeah. Alabama football is like
basketball.
Kentucky basketball. I mean, you expect to win. So
yeah, I'm going to take the Longhorns in this one as the bounce back. I just don't think Vic's going to allow them to fall off the cliff.
I know Vic Schaefer. I know how he operates. He's not going to let that happen.
All right, Michigan State is at Michigan, number 13 versus number 7 here in the polls. This is a big one, big rivalry here as well. So what do you say in this one, John?
I love Kim Arico, man. She's had a lot of success here. She's the winningest coach in program history. She's got 3 good freshmen. And she's got Olivia Olson. I think she was what, Brad, last year? Co-Big Ten Freshman of the Year.
Yeah.
Silas Swartz, Mila Holloway.
Got a really good team. Look, this team could challenge for a Final Four.
Oh, and then you got Michigan State on the other side. Robin Freilich. This is her 3rd year. She's got 2 good players, all 10 Big Ten performers. Grace Van Sluten is really, really good. And then they got Theron Hollick that can play. This Michigan State team's good. I wouldn't be shocked, I'll be honest with you, if this Michigan State team don't get to the Sweet 16 this year. This is a really good Spartan team that Freilich's got.
Yeah.
But I'm going to take Michigan at home. I like Michigan. Swartz can when she gets it going, she can score with just about anybody in the country, including Michaela Blakes.
She can score, that's for sure, especially when she gets going. I'm going to take Michigan in this one as well. I think being at home, I think that's going to be the deciding factor in that one. Going back to the SEC, Oklahoma is at 23, Alabama, and Oklahoma has had an up and down year. They're 6-5, but they have a lot of talent, man. Aaliyah Chavez is there with Regan Beers and Peyton and
Sahara Williams.
They have a lot of talent. But now Alabama has played some really good, surprising games. Timmons has been great there. They're basically Alabama needs 2 players to play really well to hang in games.
They do. They got to have Timmons going. The thing about it is, you just don't know which Alabama team you're going to get, Brad. You're going to get the Alabama team that, whipped Kentucky, the Alabama team that, beat. They
got beat. Somebody beat them bad. Who was it? 30, 40 points. LSU?
I believe it was LSU. It might have. No, I tell you it was. It was Texas A&M.
Which is ridiculous.
It was the Aggies. And then Kentucky come back and kind of flipped the script and wore A&M. You just don't ever know about ACC games.
Yeah.
Alabama, for them to be good, Timmons has to be in.
And then their other guard, is it Cody? I can't remember what her name is now.
Something of that. And I just feel like, this is going to be a tough game, especially for Oklahoma on the road. They've had the ups and downs. But, my God, man, Reagan Beer, stay out of foul trouble.
Listen, Oklahoma needs this one. They need to go in. I'm going to pick the Sooners here on the road, but it would not surprise me if the Tide can hold them off here at home.
Feel like when Reagan Beer when she's on the bench, it just pushes Oklahoma plumb out.
Yeah. That's true. All right, number 19, West Virginia is at number 12, TCU. And John, this is a Big 12 game here, and TCU has kind of, lost maybe 2 of their last 4, something like that. So what do you think? And West Virginia's been playing really good.
They have, Donovan Hunter's really good for them. Taylor Bigby, Maddie Sher. Most people don't know she was at Kentucky.
Yeah.
West Virginia is a really good team as well. I'm not real familiar with West Virginia. I watch a lot of girls ball, but I don't watch the Big 12 as much as I do the SEC. But I do know that TCU has a really good scoring tandem. I think they got, what was it? Aaliyah Robertson. She's back. They had a big portal class. I do know that. They got the Parker girl from A&M.
They got Olivia Miles.
Yeah, and they got Clara Silva, which
Silva.
I felt like you kept Clara Silva at Kentucky.
At Kentucky,
her and Strack, probably you don't lose as many games.
No, you probably can dominate the center position in the SEC with them too.
So give me TCU at home. I like them at home here.
Yeah, I'm going to take TCU. You got Miles and Maddie Shear, and I mean, I really like the guard play on this team. They got some really good size 6'7" girls, 2 of them on this team. So I'm going to take TCU here at home. And then, John, we're going to wrap up the show with this one. Ole Miss is at Kentucky on Sunday. I will be there covering this game on Sunday. John, number 14, Ole Miss is at number 18. Coach Yo has a great team. They're 20-5. And to be quite honest with you, Kentucky and Coach Kenny Brooks needs this one at home.
He does. He got the win the other night against A&M, but you're going up against a better team.
Better team. Honest. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Coach O, she just reloads.
She went out in the portal and just killed it in the portal, to be honest with you.
She got Cody McMahon from Ohio State. She got the Peterson girl from UCF. They can create a lot of matchup issues, especially for opponents. Then they got the Lauren Jacobs kid, the South Carolina. I think she was the player of the year in South Carolina. She's really good at times. Yeah. Mississippi likes to play fast, and they like to create chaos, Brad.
They do. They'll press. Kentucky ready to handle the damn ball and not be sloppy with their passes, because if they
That's what worries me about this game, because Kentucky lately has been kind of careless with the basketball, and you let this happen in a game like this, it can be a lot of trouble. So, but I'm going to take the Cats. I believe in them. I still think that they got a good team. I still think they can go far. I still think they're a Sweet 16 team, but they got to figure out how to keep the ball in their hands, and they got to stop the careless turnovers.
John, I want to give a shout out here while we're doing this to Tony Morgan. She broke the all-time assists single season record that was set last year by Georgia Amore. And she broke that in like 6 less games than Georgia did last year. So Tony Morgan has come over. She has had some trouble with those turnovers the last 4 or 5 games, 6 games. And this game is going to be very, very important. Last night, the girls started off so strong, killed Texas A&M in the first quarter, 27-5 in the first quarter. And then they just played them even and kind of hung on the rest of the game. They're going to have to do more than that tomorrow night. They're going to have to play good more.
You mean Sunday?
I mean, yeah, Sunday. They're going to have to play better than that Sunday. They're going to have to play better than really good in one quarter is what I'm saying. We need Tayani Key to really play big. Claire's got to hit some shots, and then Asia Boone has been playing fantastic. She started last night over Jordan Obi. I think she's earned that, to be quite honest with you. So that was a good switch last night. Jordan Obi come off the bench last night. I think that's a pretty good switch because Obi can come off and spell Tayani Key in that 4 spot a little bit, and it kind of makes things a little bit better. You got better guard play with Boone and Morgan on the floor at the same time. And so I do like that switch. So Kenny is making some moves here. He played Kaylin Carroll about 12 or 14 minutes last night. No, I take that back. He played Lexi Blue 14 minutes last night. in that game last night. Caitlin Carroll had about 10 or 12. Josie Gilvin even got off the bench, and she didn't get much, but she got like 2, something like that last night. So he maybe is trying to make a few different moves here. Lexi Blue is somebody that can play some defense and can hit some shots if you put her on the floor. I like that she got 14 minutes last night. She didn't take any shots. So in her 14 minutes, she just played defense, grabbed a couple of boards. But as she gets in the flow, and now she gets a second game doing this at home, maybe on Sunday she can knock down a couple of 3-pointers and give us something off the bench that I know Lexi can do. So I like some of the changes that he made last night. I want to point those out. So because we've been kind of talking about what the girls need to do to get a little better. So I'm going to take the Cats at home. I actually am taking some family with me. My son's going to the game and stuff, so I'm taking some family with me to the game so he can enjoy the game against a good Ole Miss team. Coach Yo, you have all the respect for me. You're a great coach. I love the way your girls play and the heart they play with and the passion. I just hope we can be one better than y'all tomorrow or Sunday and get that win. So that's going to end our show. And we're going to be seeing you guys on Monday night. And John, I think we have a guest Monday night. Is that right?
We do. Joseph Decker. He's the host of the Joe Show. Next up, Recruit, Scout, and Media. He covers the new age of basketball recruits in the state of Kentucky. Kids
football
like
as well, doesn't he?
I think it's football, but it's mostly basketball.
Okay.
It's more kids 8th grade, 7th grade, freshmen.
It's the next kids. Next
Group. Yeah. Kids like Rajon Rondo's son.
Yeah.
Those kids. He's going to kind of tell his story, how he got into that. Tell us about some of the new kids.
Well, he won't be on with us the whole show. If you want to catch him, he'll probably be towards the beginning of the show. He's going to be about a 15-minute segment on Monday night, and just have a little conversation with him here at College SportsCast.
And then Friday night, we will have NKY Brackets. We had him on, I think, last year.
Had him on the last 2 years, I think. He's a bracketologist that we've had on. Yeah. So he'll be on with us to talk about all the ins and outs of every single team, kind of do a little rundown of teams in each conference and stuff with him probably. So we'll have a little fun with that next week. I'm not sure. We'll kind of go along. That's what we did last year. We'll go along. I'll try to pick some games maybe next week where it's not all the top teams. Maybe we'll pick some bubble teams in some games. That way he can go along and tell us about what these teams need to do and stuff. I'll probably throw a few of those in next week with NKY.
Great show tonight, Brad.
All right, man. We're going to wrap this up. I hope you guys have a great night, great weekend. Enjoy some basketball.
Happy Valentine's Day, man.
All right, man. Yeah, it is Valentine's Day. I'm doing a little bit of celebrating this year, so I appreciate that, man. Hopefully you have somebody that at least says Happy Valentine's Day to you or something.
I probably do somewhere.
I don't know. All right, man.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah. I'm going to leave that one alone.
Yeah, you ain't touching that one.
Y'all have a good night. We will see you guys on Monday night, and enjoy some basketball, man.
Have a good one, man.